но ты не удивился, вот он Стрикленда убрал, брал Whittaker, и сейчас, пожалуйста, Адесанья.
Ну, это он сейчас, его пик идет вперед, газует. Ну, можно сказать, плохая версия меня, но сейчас вернусь, сниму его. Для меня он намного удобнее, чем другие бойцы.
Michael Bisping has one major piece of advice for Dricus Du Plessis ahead of his highly anticipated middleweight title defense against Khamzat Chimaev. Don't engage in a ground battle with the Chechen fighter.
He's going to get you down. Look at what he did to Whittaker. Look at what he did to Usman, right? Usman, with that fight, you might go, oh yeah, Usman's had his best days behind him. Then look what he did to Joaquin Buckley. He's still got it. And that's how good Khamzat Chimaev is at wrestling.
Chimaev, with his dominant wrestling and ground control, holds a massive advantage over Du Plessis in grappling. Fighters who have dared to engage with Chimaev on the ground have often found themselves overwhelmed by his raw strength and relentless pace. However, Du Plessis, despite his reputation for powerful strikes and cardio, is confident enough to take on Chimaev where others have failed. On the ground, Du Plessis has made it clear that he wants to test his skills against Chimaev in the grappling department, something that most of Chimaev's previous opponents have avoided. While Du Plessis' confidence in his own abilities is undeniable, Bisping, a former UFC middleweight champion, is skeptical about the wisdom of engaging Chimaev where he excels.
However, Dricus Du Plessis, I mean, you cannot doubt this guy. And he said he wants to fight Khamzat on the ground. He said everyone else tries to avoid going to the ground with him. He said, I want to fight the best version of him. I want to test my skills against his on the ground. He's not intimidated. There's videos of Dricus Du Plessis online taking on an entire Gracie Barralo black belt team and submitting them all one by one. He's big, he's strong, he can wrestle, he's got great judo, he's got knockout power, he's had a nose job, so he's got a great gas tank now as well. You know, this is and they hate each other. They absolutely hate each other.
Bisping expressed his concerns about Du Plessis' decision to try to out-grapple the wrestler. He pointed out that while Du Plessis' ambition is admirable, it might not be the best strategy against someone like Chimaev, who has been unstoppable in the clinch and on the ground. His advice to Du Plessis was simple: go at Chimaev head-on, avoid the ground game, and try to wear him down with strikes. While it's clear that Du Plessis is intent on proving himself against the best, it's hard to ignore the sheer danger that comes with fighting someone like Chimaev on his turf. It's a high-risk, high-reward move, and whether it pays off or not will define Du Plessis' legacy.
And Boaz, the wolf, the bad guy, coming in, has talked such a good game, and he's such a good villain. He finally gets the shot at the belt. You know, can he do it? Can he pull it off? Can he live up to all the hype? Well, we're going to find out.
I think you have to fight him on the ground. I think you can't avoid it because he's just going to take your back and ride you out. When you saw Gilbert Burns fight Chimaev, it was the groundwork that kept Chimaev a little nervous. I think you have to be able to.
The upcoming fight also raises several questions about the future of the middleweight division, particularly if Khamzat Chimaev claims the title. UFC analyst Din Thomas has voiced his concerns about what could happen if Chimaev becomes the champion. Thomas believes that Chimaev's sporadic fight schedule could have a detrimental impact on the division's momentum. According to Thomas, if Chimaev wins, there is a real possibility that his history of irregular fight appearances could create a stagnant situation in the middleweight rankings. Champions need to consistently defend their belts, but Chimaev has been known for his unpredictability, and if he becomes the champion, it's unclear whether he will be able to keep the division moving forward. While many are excited about his potential to dominate, Thomas questions whether Chimaev can deliver the consistency that a champion is expected to.
Khamzat wins, it's a disaster actually, because you know you can't tell me that a part of you is just like thinking this fight actually might not happen.
Of course, I see everyone saying
it's not because of Dricus.
Let's say like Khamzat's been in the United States for I think like a month now. He's training with Sam Calavita, who is, you know, an extraordinary strength and conditioning coach, worked with Pico, working with Armin, I think right now, TJ Dillashaw for years. It sounds like he's doing all the things right and he's here. So unless I think he might be doing like an open workout for media in LA like next week or something like that. I don't know if that's confirmed. So like the fight week motion is happening here, but I guess of course we've seen things go disastrous at the last minute. So something's in the back of the mind, but I don't know.
I mean, some of these guys are just habitual in terms of not making it to the dance. And there's a part of me.
This one though, right? He's got to be dead.
Well, no, I'm not going to be pessimistic about it and just say he's going to show up. But my point is that if he does show up and he does win, do we trust him to be able to fight again? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing, is like, can he do it twice, 2 or 3 times? Because we need movement. Like, I hate when it's just like static, when there's no movement in these divisions. And in order for there to be movement in the divisions, the champions have to fight.
Would it be a disaster if Khamzat Chimaev wins? That's what Dean Thomas said. I kind of get his point, because we do want to have a busy champion, okay? You got to fight. You can't sit on the sidelines. You can't become the champion and say, right, I'm going to avoid fighting people now. No, you got to defend it, because when you defend it, that's when you make money. That's how you build your brand. That's how you get the endorsement deals, okay? Look at Israel Adesanya. When that man was the champion, he was defending the belt at a crazy pace, okay? That's why you got to have respect for champions like Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva back in the day, because they were ready to take on absolutely anybody. Khamzat Chimaev, I think he's ready to take on everybody. He wants to kill everybody. Kill everybody! That's what he said right from day one. And I think if he can beat Dricus, and that's a big if, it's a very big if, okay? I don't know if he can.
On the other hand, Reinier de Ridder, a rising star in the middleweight division, doesn't see Chimaev as the nightmare that many expect him to be. Despite Chimaev's dominance, de Ridder, who is a top contender in the weight class, believes that preparing for Chimaev wouldn't be as difficult as preparing for someone like Du Plessis. De Ridder sees Chimaev as a more traditional fighter, someone who relies heavily on wrestling and boxing, styles that are easier to prepare for with the right training partners. He acknowledged that Chimaev's relentless pressure on the ground is formidable, but he believes the fight would be easier to game plan for when compared to Du Plessis, whose fighting style is more unpredictable. Du Plessis has a unique approach that is difficult to replicate in training, making him a more challenging opponent for anyone who faces him.
The champion, Dricus Du Plessis, without giving too much away, of course, what have you seen in watching his film? And also, he's got like now this notorious reputation of being kind of an ugly fighter. I would love to get your take on that.
If there's one guy who's hard to study, it's him, man. He doesn't do 2 things twice. He doesn't do the same thing twice. He's so awkward, so unpredictable. Yeah, I need more time studying him. He does a lot of awkward stuff, and I sparred him a couple of years ago at Kill Cliff. And what really stands out in my mind is the way he kicks. His kicks come from such a weird angle, with the knees slightly in, and it was very hard for me to judge where it was going to go, if it's going to be a middle, high, or low kick. So yeah, and it's going to be very hard to find a guy to emulate him as well, right? There's nobody else who moves like that.
Caio Barralo, another middleweight contender, also weighed in on Du Plessis' style, suggesting that fighters who try to outmuscle him often make mistakes by going for powerful shots too early in the fight. According to Barralo, Du Plessis thrives when his opponents tire themselves out trying to land heavy punches. Du Plessis, he believes, has a remarkable ability to keep coming forward even when fatigued, which makes him a tough out for anyone who underestimates his endurance. Barralo is confident that Du Plessis has the tools to maintain his championship status at UFC 319, but he also admits that fighting someone as skilled as Chimaev presents an entirely new set of challenges.
With Dricus, I think people do a lot of mistake with him because people don't control the distance and don't go for the lighter shots. You know what I mean? Like, people try to kill him all the time and put all the strength in power in the punches and all that, and then people get tired. He gets tired too, but he can work when he's tired. So I would go more with jabs, distance control, trying to hurt with kicks his arms a little bit more, and I will circle a lot in the octagon, and then I will find the right time that he just open up himself when he stretches to punch and he walks forward doing 2 or 3 punches, and I'll try to fight this opening to do a counter punch or something like that and catch him when he's not waiting. That's what I see. I can see me knock him out but I can see going for the 5 rounds of pure war, and we're gonna have fun over there.
Gilbert Burns shared his thoughts on the matchup, suggesting that if Chimaev doesn't secure a finish in the first round, or at least tire Du Plessis out in the early rounds, he could be in for a tough night. Burns highlighted Du Plessis' resilience and ability to get stronger as the fight goes on. Du Plessis, unlike many fighters, doesn't break when things get tough. This makes him a dangerous opponent for someone like Chimaev, whose pressure-heavy style can be exhausting over time. Burns expressed confidence in Du Plessis' ability to weather the storm if the fight extends beyond the initial rounds.
I train with Dricus a lot. Dricus is actually a very, very good fighter. Crazy cardio, very physically strong. He's a very hard fight to predict. You know, I think Chimaev is going to start very strong like he always do. I do believe Dricus can kind of slow him down, don't get submitted, relax a little bit. But I do believe Dricus, if he get past that first round, I think that's the hardest part. What I think he will do, I think he's gonna pass, and then he's gonna be a nightmare for Chimaev. I think Dricus is a monster, hits very hard, doesn't break, good gas tank. I do believe Dricus is gonna beat Chimaev and remain the champion.
There have been some rumors circulating about a potential bet that Du Plessis made to Chimaev, where he supposedly offered money for every successful takedown that Chimaev lands during their fight. This rumor was sparked by a post Du Plessis made about his coach offering a cash prize to training partners who could take him down, which some have mistakenly connected to Chimaev. UFC fighter Arman Sarukian, who has trained alongside Chimaev, doesn't believe Du Plessis would be able to make good on such a bet if it were true. He pointed out that while it may not be difficult to take Du Plessis down, controlling him on the ground would be an entirely different challenge. Sarukian suggested that Du Plessis would likely end up giving all his money to Chimaev should he attempt to make such a wager.
What is a good strategy Khamzat is looking at in terms of going at Dricus?
He does every fight the almost same things, and he's not going to change anything.
I saw on Twitter, Dricus said he'll give him 10,000 for every time he's able to take him down.
DDP thinks Khamzat not going to take him down. If he's really thinks like he's going to pay his 10,000, he's got to give all his money to Khamzat.
You're awesome, man. That's crazy.
Robert Whittaker, a former middleweight champion who has fought both Du Plessis and Chimaev, offered his own perspective on the fight. Whittaker believes that Chimaev's best chance of winning is to secure a quick finish in the first round, a strategy that has served him well in previous fights. However, if Chimaev doesn't manage to get Du Plessis out of there early, Whittaker sees the South African fighter gaining more confidence and starting to assert his dominance. Du Plessis' ability to endure and keep pushing forward, even in the face of adversity, is something that sets him apart from many other fighters.
Khamzat and Dricus fighting for the belt in just over a month's time. What are your initial thoughts on that matchup?
Honestly, I'd have to say Dricus would be a favorite. I think I'm leaning towards Dricus. The whole thing can be summed up. Chimaev will take him down. It's will he finish him before he gets back up? That's the $1 million question. Because if he doesn't finish him on the ground, yeah.
Belal Muhammad also weighed in on the fight, expressing confidence that Chimaev can win if he doesn't burn out early by overcommitting to takedowns. Muhammad pointed out that Chimaev's striking is often underestimated, and if he can manage his pace, he has the tools to outclass Du Plessis on the feet and the ground. Muhammad, who believes Chimaev's cardio is often unfairly doubted, thinks that the key to Chimaev's success lies in his ability to stay patient and avoid exhausting himself in the first round. If Chimaev plays his cards right, he should be able to secure a win.
Who do I got, DDP or Chimaev? Honestly, I mean, I think too many people are counting out Chimaev's cardio. I think where Habib said it best, if he stands up with him and strikes with him, I think he'll do well. DDP is an awkward style, but he does get hit a lot. And he breaks a lot of guys with fatigue. If Chimaev doesn't come out super hard in the first round, trying to take him down and letting out all his energy, I think he'll be fine if he keeps it standing. And then maybe the later rounds you try to wear on him a little bit, but you don't want to go out for that kill in the first round. And DDP just plays defensively. He's strong, obviously. And then you end up burning yourself out for 4 rounds. So he needs to be smart, especially in this 5-round fight. But I got Chimaev. I think Chimaev's a lot crisper on the feet and definitely crisper on the ground.
With UFC 319 quickly approaching, the stakes could not be higher for both fighters. Du Plessis, who has never tasted defeat in the UFC, will look to prove his worth as one of the best middleweights in the world. Chimaev, on the other hand, has been a force of nature, crushing opponents left and right with his unrelenting style. Regardless of who comes out on top, this fight has all the ingredients of a classic: fast-paced, unpredictable, and full of fireworks. Fans can't wait to see who will leave the cage with the coveted middleweight belt. Whether it's Du Plessis' resilience or Chimaev's dominant grappling that prevails, one thing is for certain: UFC 319 is shaping up to be a night to remember.